listening to Laying Down the Law here on 1250 AM ESPN San Antonio, because we're riding with, yes, you hear him every week, James Pledger doing the Sports Center updates for ESPN San Antonio. He is a huge Texans fan, so I just want him to see this star, the first star in the state of Texas. Also, I call him Return of the Max, Spencer Conley in here as well. Ryan Willett and Jeff Blake on assignment this week. And one of my favorite times of the day.
Big fan of this guy.
9:18. So we welcome in the original 88 with Between the Eights and one of the best Dallas Cowboys of all time, Drew Pearson. Drew, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
What's happening, Drew?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm game ready. I'm almost at the stadium. Got to do a couple signings, so I'm ready to roll.
Drew Pearson, you know, you had some battles with the Houston Oilers. Now it's the Houston Texans. I don't think it's any different feel in the great state of Texas. This is an in-state rivalry that you go up and down 45, and it is on and popping. You don't need motivation when you want to be the king of the state of Texas.
Oh, without a doubt. This is for more than just winning a football game. This is for bragging rights, as you said, for the state of Texas, and that means a lot to a lot of people, and including Dallas Cowboy fans and Houston Texan fans. So it should be interesting today, no doubt.
Absolutely. Drew, a team, the Dallas Cowboys, finding its stride with the running game, and I just mentioned in the last segment that Jerry Jones says now he don't want DeMarco Murray getting the touches. Now, okay, if there is a plan to get some other rushers with quality touches.
Yeah, I guess he's thinking about breaking it up a little. You know, when he put number 21, Joseph Randle, in there, you know, he's had success running the football. And, of course, the change-up guy has been Lance Dunbar when he put him in, number 25. So I think what he's talking about is maybe using those guys, giving those guys some quality touches throughout the game, and then making sure DeMarco is fresh toward the end of the football game. But the point is, whoever's running or toting the load, we have to continue to do that, and hopefully they'll do that.
Drew, what's going on, my man?
Hey, I'm happy. I'm in traffic. A lot of Texan fans I see here as I make my way to the stadium this morning.
Not many people happy in traffic. Drew Pearson happy even in traffic.
Because he can make catches in traffic.
I'm happy to be this far, this close to the stadium. I can't believe this traffic has formulated so early this morning. I'm on my way to a tailgate signing, and but, you know, it's Cowboys and the Texans, so I guess they're an early arriving crowd so they can get ready for this one.
And you look at this game, bigger than what is made between usually just a couple of teams in different conferences, NFC, AFC. It doesn't hold a lot of weight in either of the standings more so than it does just between the two teams and what it means to each city and city bragging rights. Brian Cushing himself said it earlier in the week. He kind of found out his second year of the league in a preseason game what this game meant to the city of Houston, because it was a playoff atmosphere inside Reliant Stadium for a preseason game against the Texans. But I know Dallas and Dallas Cowboy fans don't share the same kind of vitriol for the Cowboy or for Houston that Houston fans share against the Cowboys. Isn't that right? Isn't this kind of more one-sided on the Houston side of things?
I don't know. I want to knock you down. You got that Texans, hoodie on. I'll give you a couple of shots.
I can agree with that. I can
it because seems like the hate comes more from the Houston side, while Dallas feels like they're above the rivalry.
Yeah.
We feel we're above Houston. There's no question. we also know we're not above the rivalry because the rivalry is only of such because we have to play each and every game, and each and every game will present a different result. But, yeah, we feel like we're above Houston. How many Super Bowls does Houston have?
Right. Carry the two. That would be none.
Right.
Okay? I'm talking about.
Championships, baby. That's all. That's all we talking about.
The funny thing is, though,
That's
since
why we're
2002,
even though Houston might have been in the playoffs and won a playoff game before, since we have, maybe they, have a better chance in the AFC over there. But, we definitely feel like we're above this rivalry because of the success that we have. We definitely have an arrogant attitude, but there's no question Houston has closed that gap as far as how we feel and what that attitude will present.
And Drew, and I feel the same way. This is Spencer Conley, Drew. I feel it's the same way with the Cowboys and Eagles. I grew up the rivalry makes sense. Cowboys and Indians, so it should be Dallas and Washington. But Philly is completely lopsided. It's completely lopsided. They had to put a jail in their stadium because of that one game. Because when Dallas shows up. And I think it's completely lopsided. The Cowboys don't buy into the rivalry with Philly as much as Philly does with Dallas. Do you agree with that?
I think it's pretty equal. I think you might be right in regard to the fans, of course.
Yeah.
Philly fans are, they're fanatical, man. They're crazy. And they try to do things to try to rile the team, of course, but also try to do things to rile the Cowboy fans. So they're pretty obnoxious. I remember my dad used to go to games with the Philadelphia Eagles playing in the vet there. And man, I used to fear for his life. Not,
Yeah,
he couldn't wear an
game. I don't know how he did it, but he was the only one that found cowboy gear. And he would be wearing it right in the middle of all the Philadelphia Eagle fans. And I remember coming off the field one game. I always look for him. When I leave the stands or leave the field, look for him in the stands or look for my family. I remember coming off the game one time in Philly and looked in the stands and didn't see my dad there. I got in the locker room, I was a little concerned. I dressed real fast, got out of there, went upstairs. And sure enough, my dad had been in the fight with Philly fans. And the only guy that saved him was Randy White's brother, okay? Yeah. And Randy White is the master, right? You know how he looks.
Yes.
Well, his brother's twice as big, okay?
Wow.
And so that was a thing I'll never forget. And then also remember coming off the field many times. And when we played up there, especially in 1980 in the championship game, and we lost that game, and the Philly fans were throwing snowballs, icicles, everything at us as we walked off the field. The last thing Coach Landry said when we walked off the field, make sure you have your helmet on because these guys were chucking everything.
Absolutely. We are between the eights with the original 88 for the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champion, Drew Pearson. Drew, the Houston Texans have one guy that I always think about, J.J. Watt. My goodness. And, with Tony Romo not being as mobile, as you mentioned, he's somebody that somebody's going to have to block this guy. And he takes his interception yesterday, last week, pick six, gives a little Dion at the end with the raising the hand. This guy is a phenomenal freak of an athlete and a hell of a football player.
Yeah, he is, and he can disrupt an offense by himself.
Yes.
A lot of it even before the snap because you don't know where he's going to line up. He moves around so much that you got to identify where he is. What he reminds me of is when Lawrence Taylor was playing. And we always have to come out of that huddle and identify where Lawrence Taylor was. And you're always trying to figure out how to play against Lawrence Taylor. Okay, one time we'll try to run right at him. Well, that didn't work. Let's run away from him. Well, that didn't work. Well, J.J. Watt is the same kind of guy. How do you go against him? Do you run right at him? Well, maybe so. Do you run away from him? Maybe so. But either way that you play him, he's going to be bringing it, and he has that type of motor. And the other guy he reminds me of is Randy White because of that motor that he has. Randy was a guy that played every play. Not saying other guys didn't, but nobody did it as relentless as Randy White did it, fighting through double teams, chasing running backs down, and doing that type of thing. Well, J.J. Watt is that same type of guy. And, we fear him on defense, but we might be concerned when he lines up at tight end, because he looks like a pretty good receiver when they go to him in that formation down by the goal line.
Absolutely. I just think Drew, the Cowboys, my thoughts were always, if you had that type of player, you run at him and you double team him. Block down, kick out, and J.J. Watt's a guy that can fight through probably a double team. However, you're going to get tired of that if the Cowboys can keep pounding. And again, a running back doesn't need a long time or a lot of time to get upfield and to get to the second level. However, you have to pin a guy like J.J. Watt back, or make him think he's got to drop off in the coverage, or do some things that make him think just long enough so that you can execute.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy, but what the problem is, where is he? Where is he when you line up? How do you
right.
How do you declare that? Say you're running the ball to the right, but he's lined up to the left. What are you, audible to go at him? So that's the key. If he just lined up in one position throughout the football game, it'll be easier to defend J.J. Watt or defend him. Yeah,
right.
But if he moves around like he does, and which is very smart thing to do with him, because he has the ability to do that. Heck, he can line up over center. He can line up over Tyron Smith. Or over there, I'm sure he'll be licking his chops going against Doug Free and line up there most of the time. I know I would if I was him. But the point is identifying where he is, and if you have the play call where he's lined up, where you can double team him and go at him, yeah, let's do that. But first of all, you got to identify where he's located, and then adjust the play accordingly if you have time to do that.
Sure. One last question before we ask you the score. Go ahead, James.
Between the eights, Drew Pearson joining us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Drew, this is a matchup. We've talked a lot about J.J. Watt, AFC's Defensive Player of the Week and month, but he's also got to go against the NFC's Offensive Player of the Month and DeMarco Murray in the NFL's leading rusher. I know keeping Tony Romo out of those third and longs and exposed to J.J. Watt's going to be key. Houston has shown that they can get gashed by the run consistently and early, whether it was against the Washington Redskins week 1 or in week 3 against the Giants. They have been gashed against the run. How difficult is it going to be to make Houston try and bring those extra defenders in to try and stop the run to get Tony Romo the matchups he likes?
Well, it won't be. It shouldn't be that easy, that difficult at all. Because if you pay attention to the running game, if you continue to do it, whether you have success with it or not, you got to make people respect it, and they respect it now because the success. The Cowboys are rushing for over 160 yards a game. DeMarco Murray's the leading rusher in the National Football League. I got a feeling Houston will stack it up coming out of the chute to maybe discourage us from running the football. But that shouldn't discourage us, because that offensive line, no matter what, the defensive front, no matter how many people are there lined up in the box, that offensive line has been doing the job and creating daylight for Murray, Randall, and Dunbar. So the key for us is not let them discourage us from doing what we have done best to this point on offense, and that is running the football. And you see how everything is predicated off that. Romo is a much better quarterback when we can run the football. His play-action abilities take over then, and then, of course, now you got one-on-one situations in the secondary. And whether they double Dez or not, now you see Terrence Williams stepping up. And I got a feeling Jason Witten, who needs about, 45 yards to become 10,000 yards in receiving for a tight end or something. I got a feeling Jason Witten might have a big game in this situation if they stack it up against the run against us. I think Witten will have a field day running against linebackers and maybe even safeties, and Romo will be looking for him a little more than he has been to this point as far as the passing game is concerned.
Well, that makes sense to us. Drew Pearson, what is your score prediction for today's game?
My score prediction, I got off my off track a little bit last week because I knew we had to score a lot of points, and I did predict 38 to 35. We got to 35, but of course, the Saints didn't have their best offensive day. They didn't match the 35. But anyway, the score, I'm getting back on track with my scores. I'm picking the Cowboys to win this 27-17. Go Cowboys.
All right. We appreciate it. He is Drew Pearson, the original 88, beloved and a champion. Drew, thank you as always. Enjoy your day, and we look forward to much success by the afternoon. So thank you for your time again, as always, between the eights, right here on Laying Down the Law.
You got it. Thanks.
All right. We're going to take a sidebar, come back with the other side of the coin with our Houston Texans insider, Jay Foreman. Stay with us right here on Laying Down the Law.